You see a movie or a TV show online. You click the buy button and you assume it is yours. It sits in your digital library, ready to watch whenever you want. But on New Year's Eve of 2023, PlayStation users turned on their consoles and found that over 1,300 seasons of Discovery Channel content they had paid for were completely gone. Shows like Deadliest Catch and Mythbusters had been erased from their accounts. Sony offered no refunds. Their official explanation cited evolving licensing agreements, which means the transaction that users thought was a final sale was actually just a temporary lease. Thousands of hours of media vanished from private accounts without warning. Users had absolutely no recourse to get their media back. That buy button you clicked is a user interface illusion. It does not mean you own the file. It means you are renting the file until the corporation decides to change its mind. You might expect a digital file to have strange licensing rules, but apply that same logic to a machine that weighs 10 tons and costs $500,000, sitting physically in your driveway. For years, farmers who bought John Deere tractors outright found themselves locked out of repairing them. The manufacturer used software on the tractor's diagnostic ports to block independent service, turning owners into tenants of their own equipment. In April 2026, John Deere agreed to a $99 million class action settlement over this exact practice. As part of the deal, the company is required to provide public access to its diagnostic software for a full decade. That $99 million resolves the claims of private buyers. Meanwhile, the federal government is pursuing its own entirely separate legal track. In January 2025, the Federal Trade Commission filed an ongoing antitrust lawsuit against Deere over these same repair restrictions. When you read the news, you usually see the PlayStation story filed under tech bugs and the tractor story filed under farm equipment. Treating them as disconnected consumer headaches misses the actual pattern. Under the traditional legal definition of property, ownership grants autonomy. If you buy an object, you have the right to use it, fix it, or sell it to someone else without asking the original maker for permission. Modern goods operate under a licensing regime. Instead of transferring autonomy to the buyer, the seller uses remote software to demand continuous permission for how the object is used. Researchers Doctorow and Giblin call this chokepoint capitalism. A company builds an open funnel to sell a product, then snaps the chokepoint shut, locking you inside. Once trapped, they extract more money by eliminating your exit routes, closing off independent repair, resale, and modification. Apple used software to make replacement iPhone screens fail unless they verified the serial number, a practice the state of Oregon finally banned in 2025. BMW charged owners a monthly subscription fee just to turn on the seat warmers already physically built into the cars they purchased. Manufacturers are using software locks to convert one-time physical sales into involuntary, never-ending subscriptions. Federal agencies recognized this trap and attempted to force companies to leave the exit door unlocked. The Federal Trade Commission wrote a regulation called the Negative Option Rule. It mandated a simple click-to-cancel standard, meaning that leaving a subscription had to be exactly as frictionless as signing up for one. 6 days before that rule was supposed to take effect in July 2020, the default state for consumers is to remain trapped. The tech industry defends this shift by pointing to the benefits of subscriptions. Paying a small monthly fee lowers the upfront cost of entry and grants anyone access to massive media libraries that used to require serious capital to own. Choosing to rent a music catalog is a fair trade, but there is a sharp boundary between willingly streaming a song and finding out the hardware you already paid full retail for has been remotely paywalled. The corporate defense relies on the idea of consumer choice. It pretends that actual ownership is still a valid alternative sitting on the shelf next to the subscription plan. You cannot claim to champion access over ownership when the entire market is explicitly designed to eliminate the option of ownership in the first place. This is where we have to look past consumer rights and examine political theory. Since the time of John Locke, liberal democracy has relied on a specific definition of property. Secure property provides the baseline for citizenship, the material foothold required to refuse a bad deal, exit an unfair contract, and dissent. When the things you possess can be unilaterally altered, gated, or deleted by a remote software command, that material foothold dissolves. The crisis of 2026 is not about whether we can be coaxed into liking subscriptions. The crisis is whether the law will continue to recognize true ownership as a political condition we are allowed to exist in.